The biggest mistake people make on first dates is ignoring these red flags. And if someone does these things on date one, trust me, it's only going to get worse.
And as therapists, we've seen this play out time and again.
Heck, we've even been there ourselves.
When you're starting out in dating, it's easy to overlook early signs, thinking maybe they just had a really bad day. But there are 5 red flags that, if you see them on a first date, should make you pause because they tell you exactly how this person is going to treat you down the road.
So let's break them down.
Number 1, they don't respect your boundaries. A first date is the perfect time to see how someone handles boundaries. If they push your limits on anything, physical, emotional, conversational, it's not just a small thing. It's a sign of how they'll behave later in the relationship.
For example, if you have an early morning and they insist just one more drink, or if they ask personal, intrusive questions and keep pressing after you've tried to change the subject, that's a big deal. If they don't respect small boundaries, they won't respect big ones later.
Number 2, they're rude to the waitstaff or others. How someone treats people they don't need to impress says everything about them. If they're rude to the server, dismissive to the host, or act entitled in any way, that's a huge red flag.
If someone is kind and respectful only when they want to be, but dismissive when they think no one important is watching, it means their kindness is a performance, not a value. And trust me, that mask is going to slip when they get comfortable.
Number 3, they talk only about themselves. A great first date should feel like a conversation, not a monologue. If someone spends the whole date talking about themselves without asking you any questions, that's a sign that they're either self absorbed or just not interested in you as a person.
If someone is genuinely into you, they'll want to know about you. They'll ask about your interests, your experiences, and your thoughts. If you get to the end of the date and realize they haven't asked anything about you, that's a red flag.
Number 4, they drop an early guilt bomb, and this one's sneaky. If someone starts dumping emotional weight onto you way too soon, talking about how lonely they've been, or how much they need someone to trust, or how they've been burned before and don't want to be hurt again, pay attention.
For example, they might say, I've been so lonely since my last breakup. I really need someone I can trust. Sounds sweet, right? But it's actually a warning sign of emotional dependency. A first date is not the time for someone to lean on you for emotional support. That's not connection. That's looking for a rescuer. And another red flag.
Number 5, they trash talk their exes. And here it is, the biggest red flag of all. If someone tells you every ex they've ever had was either crazy or toxic, that's not bad luck. That's a pattern, and you might be next.
No one has a perfect dating history, but there is a big difference between saying, that relationship was unhealthy and I've learned from it, and my ex was completely insane. If someone refuses to take accountability for their past relationships, it means they won't take accountability for this one either.
And the trap people fall into? Thinking they'll be the exception. Spoiler alert, you won't be. If they describe all their past partners as problems, eventually they're going to do the same to you.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot of red flags. Let's throw in a green flag. What is one of the biggest green flags you've experienced on a first date?
I'd have to say emotional maturity. Someone who's able to talk about past relationships with honesty and accountability, definitely a big green flag.
I totally agree. Someone who is able to say, I learned a lot from my past relationships and I take responsibility for my part in them is a green flag. Emotional maturity is so attractive.
And until next time, remember, you're not alone. We're all in this together.
Together.